for cold, hard sports talk with your hosts, Ty Gore, Matt Barrett, and Jake Woods.
Alrighty, boys, we are here with our guest, a veteran of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, home of Matt Barrett, the British Columbia Junior Hockey League, and now the USHL, played in the World Junior A Championship, currently committed to play D1 hockey at the University of Denver NCAA, Owen Ozar. Owen, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, not so bad. Jumping right into it here. First thing I want to ask, for anyone who doesn't know you, hasn't seen you play, how would you kind of describe your game, describe your style?
I'd say I'm a pretty quick, shifty forward, like to score goals. I think I'm best when I have the puck. Defensively, I think it's part of my game I got to work on. But no, I love to score goals. I'm best with the puck. I like to forecheck. I like to get physical at times. But, that's pretty much it.
I think we all need to work on our defensive.
I don't think there's a 20-year-old in the world whose best part of their game is solely their shutdown.
No,
And if they are, it's probably because they were lacking other things, and that's what they needed to play high level. Being a Sask-born kid, growing up in Prince Albert, your first kind of major level game with the Flin Flon Bombers in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. You got one game there. Can you talk us through what that was like, getting the call there that let them know you're going to play? Were there any nerves or anything before the game?
Yeah, so I was playing midget trips in Swift Current, and Flin Flon, they wanted me to stay as a 17-year-old a little bit longer when training camp went down, and I decided to stay, play another year midget. I thought I might get a better chance of going out to BC, so I stayed there, and I forget quite how it went down, but it was I was in Swift, and they were playing in Kindersley, and they texted me the day before. They're like, "Hey, can you drive to Kindersley tomorrow, playing the game?" I was like, "Yeah." So I drove myself there and played. Yeah, I was pretty nervous, especially for the first game. I was pretty young, and it was a pretty physical game, so it was tons of fun to play in, and I'm glad I did it. And then I ended up driving home in the dark. I remember it being a snowstorm. It was a shitty drive, but no, that was a really good first junior game for me.
And I did some research. I went and dug up the game sheet from that game a couple of years ago. It was a pretty close game. It was the game-winning goal that you assisted on, actually. Do you remember that play? And do you remember
we were killing. I was on the PK, and I was thinking geez, I'm an AP. Coach is putting me on the PK. I better not screw this up. And it was off the draw. I forget if I took the draw. I think I took the draw, and I won it back. And if I'm corrected, and then the D-man just shot the puck, and it went in. And we came back game two. Bombers were on quite the losing streak too, I think, when I came in for that game. So they were they really needed that win, and that was a huge game for them. So the boys were pretty fired up after.
Lots of excitement on the bench when the new guy came in instead of that goal.
Yeah, they were pretty pumped for me.
Like we said, you only played the one game in the SJ. The next year you went out and played for the Trail Smoke Eaters in the BCHL. What went down there bringing you out to BC?
So the head coach at the time in Trail, Cam Keith, we made the Max tournament that year. And we went to the Max. I had a pretty good tournament, played very well. And he scouted me from there. And I kept talking to him for a couple weeks, and within 2 or 3 weeks after the Max tournament, I said I wanted to go there. So that was my goal. I wanted to get to a team in BC because I figured it'd be a better chance for a scholarship. Nothing against Alberta or Saskatchewan. I just felt like that was my best option. So yeah, going to Trail was huge for me. I was really pumped when that went down.
If I want to kind of ask you about your midget days and your Bantam days as well. You're a first round draft pick in the SHL. You're drafted in the Dub as well. What made you go to Swift Current as opposed to sticking around in Prince Albert? And why'd you decide Swifty was kind of the best spot for you?
So I actually wasn't drafted in the Dub. But
Oh, you weren't. Oh,
He was
my
drafted
bad.
SJ and USHL.
There we go.
Yeah,
See, you know what?
But no, so yeah, when I was 15, I was trying out for the Mintos there in Prince Albert. They're a really good midget program there. They are winning every year. And as a 14-year-old, like in Bantam, I was practicing with them, AP'd with them a little bit. Like I was pretty set. I really wanted to play at home, right? And didn't make the team. Got cut. Pretty shitty. I was pretty bummed out. And then so I played. I think I ended up playing like 13, 15 games in midget AA. Just really wasn't for me. And then my best friend, Ethan Renier, he was playing in Swift Current for the Legionnaires. And they had a couple guys end up quitting. They didn't have a very good team. So the coach hit me up. He's like, hey, do you want to come finish the season here? I thought about it. It was tough leaving home pretty early, but looking back, it was the best thing for me. So went there. I played 14 games, I think. Didn't really get a whole lot of playing time. Kind of just got my foot into the AAA door there, and then after that, my 16th year, I had a better year. The points still weren't coming, but I had a pretty good season. And then I kind of broke out that third.
You still there? We kind of lost you here.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, no.
No, we're frozen.
He's gone.
Yeah, I want to go back to your Bantam and midget days and kind of just like your career playing in Prince Albert and Swifty and whatnot. What made you go to Swifty? What was kind of the deal going there instead of trying to stay at home for a couple years to play AAA there?
Yeah, so I was 15. I obviously wanted to play for the hometown Mintos. Actually, my family, we billeted Mintos before, and you kind of know those guys growing up. So always wanted to play for the hometown team and just didn't make the team. Kind of disappointing. Played half the season playing midget AA in Prince Albert, and then my best friend was playing in Swift Current for the Legionnaires, and they had a couple guys quit. So the coach called me up, asked if I wanted to finish the year there. I said absolutely, looking forward to it. Mom didn't really quite like me leaving home so early, but I think she's all right with it now. But no, yeah, so that was big, and had a good second season there. Points still weren't quite coming, but I was getting better. And then that third year, I kind of broke out and got points, and we had a really good team. So that kind of what helped me get to trail for sure.
And your brother, you also got to play against your brother in your last year, right?
Yeah, I did.
So how cool is that to play against your brother, against the hometown team? Did you kind of feel like a little bit of, one of those like anti-heroes?
Yeah, actually, for sure. That was it, because me and my brother, we were always 2 years apart. So, other than the time we were 5 and 3, like we really, or 6 and 4, whatever, we really had never played with or against each other until then. So that was really exciting. And yeah, I kind of felt like the villain coming into town, all my friends and buddies watching. It was kind of cool.
What's the relationship like with you and your brother when it comes to hockey and stuff? I know he was supposed to play in L'Orange, but that didn't quite work out. What's your relationship like with him when it comes to hockey?
No, it's really good. Me and my brother played. We loved hockey. He's a big baseball player now, so he's playing college baseball in Lethbridge. But yeah, no, he was a really good player. I guess he didn't really quite love the game as much as I did, so he was more of a baseball fan. So was my dad. So that was his choice. But yeah, no, he was a really good player. I think if he stuck with it, he could have gone a while.
Do you think leaving to go play in Swift Current, do you think that made it easier for you when the option came to go move all the way to BC?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I lived in 3 years, like from 15 to 17. That was I grew up a lot in that span, so that was a big step for me, and it made moving to trail, which is quite a bit further, much easier.
Yeah, because for like the standard person, they're not even leaving mom and dad's house until they're 18, 19, 20. So
yeah,
by the time you're 17, you're already out of the nest for 3 years. Moving to BC is no big step.
Yeah, no, that was huge for me.
want to ask, we do this for a couple teams. We do it with, we ask the Alaska and the Nukes about this a lot. When you went there, was there any question like, what exactly is a smoke eater?
Well, yes. So that was, I, I, I had no idea, and I'm pretty sure like during that summer when I was like committed there, me and my dad would look it up, and they're huge on hockey history there. So when you go there, like you eventually, like someone knows the story, so they eventually tell you. But like, do you guys have any idea?
I personally don't.
I know. I think I did a little bit, and it's like it's had something to do like they were big with like pulp mills or something to do with mills, right?
Well, yeah, there's a big mill in Trail. It's actually right beside the rink. But no, so it was like I don't know the year, but it was long time ago. And they played a game, don't remember against who, whatever. And someone threw a pipe on the ice after the game, and one of the players just like picked it up and started smoking it. And so then they were called something else, and then eventually, I think in the newspaper the next day, the headline "Smoke Eaters" came up, and then it somehow stuck. I'm pretty sure that's the story, and that's kind of what they have, like a museum and trail with a whole bunch of the hockey history stuff, and I'm pretty sure that's the story that they tell.
Wow.
And your first year in Trail, you had a pretty solid first year of Junior A, 26 points in 42 games. You really turned it on the playoff run, putting up 9 and 12. What was the adjustment like to play in a full year at the Junior A level? Was there anything about your game you needed to change, or was it just kind of the little tweaks along the way?
Yeah. Well, I kind of had a shitty start because the coach that they recruited me, he ended up getting fired in the summer. So they brought in a new coach, Jeff Tamolini, unreal coach. Absolutely loved him. So I didn't really know what to expect. And going into camp, I was going to a coach that's really never seen me play. So I was thinking, I got to play my ass off here. I'm not going to make the team. So I had a really good training camp, played really good. And then in the first exhibition game, I had 3 points going into the third period, and I got hit behind the net, and I separated my shoulder, and I was out for 8 weeks. So that sucked because I was just getting used to playing junior and whatnot. So that was really disappointing, and it was a long 8 weeks. And then once I came back, I kind of just started right where I left off, and I think I had 2 goals in my first game. So we had a lot of good players that year. Our record didn't really show how good we were. I think we had a really good team, and it kind of showed in playoffs. Like we ended up playing Merritt, who were unreal in the regular season, and we beat them in 5 in the first round. Like we were a good team, and it was a shame. I think we lost Game 7 against Vernon. That was a tough one, but I think we had the team to go all the way.
Now you said it briefly there, had some great players. The next year, I believe it was, you played with Kent Johnson, who one of the top ranked prospects to go in the NHL draft this year. What was he like to play with?
Yeah, that kid is nuts, man. He has more skill in his pinky than any of us. Like it's insane. I've never seen some kid just like love the game as much as he does either. Like if you don't tell him to stop, he'll be on the ice. Like in Trail, we had a pretty nice schedule where we had practice at like 2:00, I think, and we had ice from 10 or 9 to 10 every day in the morning. So if you wanted to go out, work on skills, whatever, and he was there every morning. Like it was insane. This kid never left the ice. Pre-game skates, you're supposed to go for 15, 20. He'd stay on for an hour and a half. Like it was ridiculous.
Then still go on the ice later and light it up.
Yeah, like it was insane. And he had a really good first year, and then last year he just blew up the league. Like it was really fun to play with him. It was made it a lot easier for sure.
So going into your second year in Trail, really took over the BCHL. I believe you finished 4th in the league in points, 66 and 54. Was it just another year older, another year better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a really good team last year. It was, with COVID happening, that was just heartbreaking because we were just heading into the second round, and we thought we had the team to do it all. But no, yeah, I definitely went into the season thinking, I didn't have a college commitment at the time, and that's what I was working forward to. And then I was just pushed for that, and I got the commitment early on that season, and and kind of just wanted to prove I was worthy of it. And yeah, I had a good year.
And currently committed to the University of Denver. Were they what was special about them? Were there other offers kind of around that you were looking at too?
Yeah, actually, I only had one other offer at the time, so it was kind of. I had talked to my first year. I probably talked to 6 or 7 teams, none serious. At the end of that year, Alaska Fairbanks offered me, and I ended up going on a visit to Alaska that summer, which was really cool. I'm glad I went. And but I told them I was going to hold off, and then in the preseason later that summer, Denver phoned me when I was back home and kind of said, yeah, we're interested. We watched you play all last year and stuff like that. And then the assistant coach, Tavis McMillan, he came to 2 of our preseason games, watched me play. And probably a week later, he called me on the phone and told me and offered me a scholarship. And pretty much after that call, a couple hours later, called my parents. That night, I called Tavis back, said, yeah, I'm in. So it was pretty exciting the way it happened.
How cool is that process? It probably makes you feel really good and really like wanted when you're going through a process like that, hey?
Oh,
Bit
yeah.
of a boost to the ego a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. It was really nice having, top, good schools come up to you and asking you like that they want you to play there is good for the ego for sure.
And it's not like, it's not Mexico City State or anything. It's, the University of Denver, which is a very good program. And like there's guys on that team who are realistically going to go and be in the NHL. There's guys like Bobby Brink. Carter Savoy has been tearing it up there this year, an Oilers draft pick. There's just like knowing you're going to get another chance to play with like these like future pro caliber players. Was that really enticing for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I never ended up going on my visit to Denver, so I've never been there, but I was talking to actually Tambo, my coach back in Trail the other day, and he said like he scouts college hockey players going into pro now. That's his job, and he was saying I'm going into a really good situation. Like they get good players every single year, and if I go there and make a good first impression, I can play with top NHL skill guys.
And so going back to your junior A days, I want to talk about the World Junior A Challenge and what was that experience like for you being selected to that team, first of all?
That was crazy. It was actually one of my goals going into last year. I said, because I was 19-year-old, it was my last year to do it. I said, I want to try and, at least get an invite to camp to play for Team Canada West. And I did. And we had 4 guys on trail. So it was nice going there, knowing guys and camp. I thought I played pretty well. And I remember we were all waiting in line to find out if we made it or not. And I was the last guy in line, like the last person out of however many guys. So I was waiting felt like forever. And when I got in the office, they said I made it, and I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. Like it was a dream come true for sure to put on the Maple Leaf. But it was a really fun tournament in Dawson Creek. We didn't really quite do what we wanted. We didn't really, we wanted gold obviously, and we didn't get it, but it was definitely a fun experience I'll never forget.
And then there was one of your now future teammates on that team we mentioned before, Carter Savoy. What was he like in the little bit of time playing with him?
No, he's an unreal player. He's got one of the best shots I've ever seen, and got to know him, just a little.
No.
Uh-oh.
Bit, and I'm excited to go to Denver with him. Seems like a really good
guy. We're just gonna take that one again. You kind of cut out there. So I'll just go from the question again.
Playing with Savoy.
Yeah, I'll ask it again to make it easier for editing.
Okay.
And in the with Canada West, there you played with a now future teammate, Carter Savoy, who's currently tearing it up at the University of Denver. What was he like in just that little bit of time to play with?
No, yeah, he was a beauty. He's got one of the best snapshots I've ever seen. He's the definition of a pure goal scorer. So I'm looking forward to playing at Denver with him. Absolutely.
Do you remember anyone else in that little tournament who was just like anyone on your team or against your team who was just like, man, this guy's tearing it up?
There was one kid on Russia. He wore 22. I don't know how to say his last name, but he got drafted to Minnesota. I think late first round this year. He was a smaller guy. He played for Russia in the World Jays this year, and he was like nuts. Like he was so fast, and you couldn't take the puck off him. I was like this kid's insane, and he's got a long last name. Some Russian name. I don't remember how to say it, but that's the one guy that was like, holy shit, like this guy's good.
I think it was Ponomaryov.
Yeah,
maybe
that might have been it. Yeah.
Yes, Carolina Hurricanes round 2.
Okay.
Third, if that's the guy we're thinking of.
It sounds like he played at the World Juniors, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that's the guy.
Yes.
Keep your eye out for him. According to Owen Ozar, he's the real deal.
You heard it here first.
Get him right now in your long-term keeper leagues before he gets swept up. Now, one thing I want to talk about was earlier this year, or at the end of last year, I should say, you were named captain of the Trail Smoke Eaters. But before you could play the season with the C on your jersey, COVID became a thing and all the leagues were up in the air, and you ended in the USHL. Was it an emotional decision, kind of leave the team before you got to wear the seat?
Like I was fully ready, and I really wanted. I told them I had no set, like before at the end of the year. I was like, no, I'm coming back. I don't want to go anywhere else. And things kind of unraveled, and it didn't look like BC was going to start on time, and the USHL was, and Waterloo drafted me, and I just figured, I'd rather be playing hockey than not playing hockey. So I mean, it's turned out to be a pretty good decision for me playing here in Waterloo, but it was definitely an emotional decision. It was definitely a hard one.
And what's the skill jump like from BCHL to USHL? Is it like somewhat comparable? Is it higher, lower?
It's definitely higher. I wouldn't say the skill level is quite a bit higher. I'd say it's close to the same, but like the depth in this league is nuts. Like every team, it's there's no easy nights. Absolutely. Like the bottom two lines on each team, you still got really good players, and especially the defense. Like it's really hard to score goals in this league for sure. That's what I've noticed compared to the BC.
And that league also has an interesting component in that, for those who don't know, the national team runs their development program through there. Is it a different experience getting to play a bunch of hand-picked like future NHLers who are 16, 17 years old?
Yeah. So with the season this year, they're in the East and we're in the West. So we don't play them in a regular season game, but we did play them in the preseason. And I think the score was 7-2 to them. Like I was like, geez, these kids are they were a really good team, and it was definitely a frustrating game to play against. They were good.
Must be insane, just going out there and being like, these kids are 2-3 years younger than us, but man, are they skilled.
Yeah, they were like it's not like they were crazy big or anything. It's just they have the puck, and it's almost impossible to try and get them from
them. One thing I wanted to ask too is how is your and all that kind of changed due to COVID? Is it still pretty much the same, or is it like, have you had to adapt it all with like not getting like the same group training or any kind of thing?
Yeah, so in the summer, you kind of took a month or two off of skating right at the end of the season there, didn't really do much. And then workouts, the gym, you started working out on your own a little bit, and then, the gyms opened up. So I think we got a nice group in PA. We got like 5 or 6, 7 guys that, playing the dub, and then I work out with them, and we got a pretty good group. So it's pretty fun, and we worked out all summer, and then halfway through there's no ice in PA in the summer, so we got to drive to Saskatoon, which kind of sucks. But it's like getting dressed in the parking lot, and it sucked. And then by the end of summer, things were getting back to normal and whatnot. So yeah, other than the earlier to midsummer, not a lot has changed.
And one thing we like to ask all of our guests who come on are, what is your craziest story or your highlight of your career up until this point?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's not a highlight, but a pretty crazy story is, so in trail, we have pretty shitty travel. Like our closest road trip's for 4 hours. Like it's Kelowna. It's not good travel at all. And our bus is not a very good bus either. I think in the 2 years I was there, it broke down probably 4 times. But there was one game, we were in Wenatchee, it's about 6 hours away. And we won in a shootout. We were fired up. And we get on the bus, and it starts, whatever. We're getting ready to leave, and then the bus just died, just stopped, just turned off. So we waited for some bus guy to come check it out. He's like, yeah, bus isn't moving tonight. You're staying here in Wenatchee. So we're like, well, shit. All the coaches are calling every hotel in Wenatchee, like, hey, we need a bunch of rooms tonight, right now. No rooms available, nothing. We were getting ready to sleep in the bus in the parking lot. And so Wenatchee's trainer was a realtor at the time. And he was like, yeah, I got this 2-bedroom apartment, a couple streets from the rink. You guys can stay there. There's no furniture or anything. So we hop into vans, and they take us to this apartment, this 2-bedroom apartment, no furniture, literally just floor and 2 rooms. And we have 22 guys, and all the coaches and all the trainers slept in this shit apartment all night. And then when the bus broke down, we called a bus driver from trail, and he woke up middle of the night, drove to Wenatchee that night in a little tiny piece of shit bus, and then picked us up in the morning. And we had an awful 6-hour trip home. But it's something I was like, God, that is nuts. It was a pretty funny story at the time.
That's junior A hockey in Canada, I guess, eh?
Yeah, I know. It was insane.
Was there any thought to try and get someone to run to a Walmart and find a sleeping bag or something?
Yeah,
Just give you guys something?
we were all using our bags as pillows, and I think the bus driver ended up taking the closet just so he could get some peace, just sleeping in the closet. It was, at the time, we were all like, oh my God, this is the worst. And now looking back at it, it was pretty funny.
That's one of those things where it's just it's one night where you just have a crappy sleep, and you just tell that story for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
Alrighty, boys. Gorzy, Matty B, you got anything else for him?
Actually, about the USHL, are you guys able to play? Are you guys playing in front of any fans at all this year?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. Every county here in Iowa and other states, it kind of depends on what COVID is there, though. But we have half capacity right now. It's really good. Actually, the last couple weeks, we've got quite a bit more. We have seats in our rink that aren't social distance anymore. And we went to Sioux Falls a couple weeks ago, and they got 4,000 or 5,000 fans. It was pretty fun to play in. That's a big rink. That's still half capacity. But I think the only rink in the league that doesn't have any fans is Chicago. Other than that, I think every team has at least half capacity. So, I mean, we got tons of games coming up. We had 3-3 last week. We got 3-3 this weekend. And I mean, we're halfway through our schedule, and we only got 2.5 months to go. So I'm really excited for the rest of the season.
Must be nice to actually play in front of some people. Hey, I know guys up here weren't playing in front of many fans at all. Just must be nice to have that back, hey?
Oh, it's huge. And talking to my buddies all back home, they haven't been playing hockey forever. Going here was a tough decision, but I'm so glad I did it. I love it here.
Gorzy, anything?
I can't think of anything right now, but thanks for coming on, man. You're you're awesome to have on, especially cool to hear about your junior A days.
No, yeah, boys. Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, and stay safe. We're going to be following along with your career, cheering you on. We've been known to give a little bit of a bump to people who've come on. One of our guests whose episode came out a couple days ago at the time of recording just picked up his 100th career SPHL when he's a couple away from the record there. So we take partial credit for that. He's undefeated since he's been on the pod. So.
All right. That sounds good. Hopefully a good weekend for me coming up then.
Absolutely,
Hopefully, man.
Well, thanks again. And as always, boys, cheers.
Yeah. Thanks, boys.